I always listen to our pod once. That's the honest truth. Not
That's
twice, but
good.
once. I'm
Well,
like,
that's
I
only
legit,
15 views.
I'm biased, obviously, but I don't think it's that bad.
All right. Well, welcome everybody back to episode 6 here of the PolyMarket podcast. I'm your host, Joel, here with my brothers, Matt and Andrew. We are going to be delving into some of the markets here on PolyMarket this week. We've got a few interesting bets that we wanted to talk about. We've got a few updates that we also wanted to discuss, and we might actually do some user questions here. Is that right, Andrew? We might do some definitely genuine user questions, not generated by ChatGPT, because
listener questions, I think, is the technical term.
Listener questions. I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, not to, get into any sensitive topics here or anything, but I think the first bet that we wanted to delve into was Matt's bet regarding Israel and Iran. Very chill, nothing going on there.
Let's not start with Israel Iran. Let's talk a little recap first. Today obviously was the Fed decision.
Yeah, let's jump into that stuff.
Yeah, let's go into that.
Let's update where we're at.
So yeah, I mean, I spent my my lunch hour meeting we had being depressed about somehow losing money on both sides of this bet.
Well, when you fight like 95% odds, I mean, you're gonna lose a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, when I bought into the no change, it was not at 95%. It was like 25 or 30% at that point. So I lost some good coin on that one.
Yeah, okay.
And I rode that all the way into the ground, Dr. Strangelove style.
Well, I mean, I can announce my success on the Fed bet.
Yeah, give her Joel.
Betting on the 25 bips, I got in at 65 cents, sold, I think, at 96, did the limit order. So, learned a little bit about that. And then I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'll put that $20 I earned on 50 bits, just in case, because my brother sent me an interesting tweet about it this morning. I thought, you know what? He wouldn't send this to me if it wasn't right. So I lost $20 and
you put it on this morning. You put it like right after Andrew tweeted the unusual whales thing. Or
I was like, yeah, might as well. All right.
Andrew prematurely told us this morning that he had won another bet, and he said,
"Hey,
a little meme with like, let's roll, baby."
Let it ride.
You know what? Standard General said, hey, 50 bips is coming. Apparently, according to Powell, at least, nobody voted for 50 bips. Except for the one, and it was
but they also did say like just 3 more cuts this year, right? Was that Trump post I saw about him like freaking out? Was that real? Where he's like, it should have been 100 bips or maybe 200. Was that a real? I can't ever even tell with the internet these days.
Guys, we're 5 years away from not being able to tell anymore.
What is reality?
But honestly, doesn't that ever freak you guys out? It's crazy to think about.
I mean, like, just like the fake videos, like, I mean, the only thing they've really nailed, right, that I find very convincing is like the man on the street interviews, where they've satirized it to some degree, so it's somewhat obvious that they're faking it, but it's like, it looks incredibly real. Like, and I know the grannies on Facebook are getting fooled by this stuff. You know what I mean? And
I feel like I'm not close to getting faked yet, but I see the projection and it's not far away. You know what I mean?
Right.
Pretty scary stuff. We also had a big jump today in the Eric Adams dropping out. I bought in around 50.
Is that the bet that you guys made? It was Eric Adams dropping out?
Well, we remade the bet last week. I made twofold. I think Andrew did as well. It was to Cuomo to win, which is down a couple cents. But Adams to drop out has gone up significantly from about 50 cents I got in to 65 now. So I don't know if there's any news. I haven't seen any news that kind of mentions that, but maybe there's some insider info, or maybe people are just speculating based off how bad his polling is, etc. But looks like the market thinks he's going to drop out.
He's just
Yeah.
negotiating the size of his bag.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you want me to get out? You guys want me to get out? Okay, let's talk a
It's
little
gonna be
bit.
a platinum parachute.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk exactly. Gold parachute ain't good enough.
It's like the Illinois senator Blagojevich.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, it's a valuable effing thing, you know. Oh, speaking of which, Matt or Joel, I noticed you swore earlier. I'm not sure if anyone looked at our podcast in the Apple Pod Store, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
But apparently
right?
They must transcribe everything. And apparently we did a lot more swearing in episode 5 because it's the only one that has the little E for explicit, whereas none of the other ones do.
You know what? I think I dropped a couple F-bombs and I shouldn't. You know, I can.
It's not heckin' cool, man. Not heckin'
Yeah,
cool.
it's freaking. Let's just get back to frickin' and fracking. I'm in. It's no big deal, you know.
I mean, we were well trained on that one.
Yeah, I'm an easy switcher, guys. I'm an easy. What's the code switcher? No,
yeah, code switch. Yeah,
code switch. Yeah, I can do it pretty easy. Okay, Andrew, why don't you go first? Talk about Israel Gaza. You want to do that, and then I'll talk in with
sure.
Iran and Israel.
So, I mean, I am surprised that people have not made more of a big deal about the fact that Ben Shapiro said on Bill Maher on Friday on one of the biggest platforms left. Right, no one's watching cable news, but people still watch Maher. And they were talking about Gaza, and maybe it was the after show, but I thought it was the main show. And he asked them, like, what's going on? And Netanyahu's going back in. Is this going to be a big thing? And Shapiro was on the lines of, nah, I give it a few weeks. I think there's going to be a deal. And I mean, if anybody's in the know, it's Ben Shapiro. And right now, Netanyahu is, sending in the ground troops basically into Gaza City, saying this is it, the big final push. But I think, frankly, this is just sort of a last gasp of the Netanyahu regime. I think he's lost this war. And somebody who I really like listening to, Andrew Fox, I believe is his name, he was talking about just the reality of, again, morality aside and what, who's at fault or who's in the right in this war, the logistics of what Israel has had to do in the last 2 years is kind of insane to think about. They basically had to mobilize every able-bodied man between, whatever, 20 and 40, 50 some, I'm sure. And hundreds of thousands of men have done a tour street fighting in Gaza.
So people that are not in the, like, so it's like it's 2 or 3 year term, right? So you're saying outside of those typical people that are serving, and I know after you're always a reservist or something like that, right?
Well, all the reservists got mobilized. So think how many man hours are lost. Never mind dead, wounded. But think how many businesses had to get shut down, because, hey, the owner's going off to fight and his general manager, and hey guys, sorry, we're not taking contracts anymore because we're off fighting in Gaza. And to think that they are now going to push back into Gaza City, fully deploy the troops again into there, meaning more men have to get sent into that. I think it's untenable. I don't think the population will stand for it. Once it hits the 2-year mark, I think that's when the most pressure will be on to get a deal done. And that's why I doubled down on my bet this month. I think there's going to be a ceasefire within October, but I think by end of year is a no-brainer.
The bet is the end of year? And what did you get in at, and what are they at right now?
I mean, the thing that I saw that was interesting on some of those Gaza bets is, and I kind of feel like this is the case, that is despite what Israel's going through, despite the,
Some
2
people,
years of
some people,
sending young
some
men to
people would
war.
say there's some stuff going on in Gaza as well.
No, sorry,
Some
not
people
that
might say
Israel.
there's also a hard times on the other side of
No, I'm not saying there's not hard times, Matt. But what I'm
I
saying
know.
is
I'm just saying you
obviously
guys are,
Andrew's
anyways.
expressing
Like,
Andrew's
oh,
expressing the
and then
Israeli
they have to go
position.
over there. They have to shut down their businesses. I'm just kidding.
Right.
Okay.
But my point being is that, like there was those recent, assassinations on the Hamas leadership, right? And I think the position that Hamas is taking, and sort of through the Qataris, is, look, this a deal is untenable, because if they're taking out the leadership that's supposed to be negotiating, how can we really deal with them in good faith, right? It's like every time we show up for a meeting, we're checking for bombs under our
Right.
chairs. Like,
Same
how are we
same
really
with
going
the
to get a deal
Iranians,
done?
right? They were in the middle of making the deals when the 12-day war started. Um, yeah, that's what I don't get, Anders. I understand what you're saying from Israel's point of view. I just don't understand. I don't understand like what the deal would look like. I don't even know who we're negotiating with. I don't know if Trump's involved in it.
Right. And if Palestine and Gaza have a firm, no two-state solution, position, like, it's like it doesn't seem to matter how much concessions Israel makes. Maybe like
No,
the
I think
withdrawal that
it's kind of the
can
opposite.
happen, but it's like,
I think Israel now has a no two-state solution. I mean, Netanyahu's. I think that's just basically his stance now, is that there can't be a two-state solution.
I think Palestine will take a state if it's given to them under the certain conditions, but they'll never give up their right to claim the rest of Palestine, which will always be the thing. They can use it as a stepping stone to jump off. But that was why Arafat could never get the deal done, is he could never, after telling his people, don't worry, you know, those old keys you hang around your neck from your old house back in what is now Israel, Green Line Israel, like, you're never getting that property back. And that was the part of the deal that they could never close, because after promising people, no, we're going to get you that back if we just keep fighting long enough and keep fighting hard enough, you can't turn around and be like, hey, will you take, a state? They're like, no, we want our homes back. Like, they're always going to keep wanting to fight for that.
Okay, back to the numbers, Andrew. Sorry, did you pull up the numbers? We can kind of get a sense of where.
So I bought in at 17. It's down to 9.
This is for October. This is for 2025.
This is for 2025. And then I also have a couple of bets on the Israeli parliament being dissolved, both before October 31st and end of 2025.
And what is,
because as soon as this deal is done, as soon as this deal gets done, Netanyahu's coalition breaks up and the parliament falls. I think it'll be almost right away.
Why would Bibi ever make the deal then? Why would Bibi? I guess that's what I don't understand. Like, I just don't see.
That's the whole point. I think I talked about this a couple episodes. When there's public reporting that, hey, like, the chief of the IDF, like the head of the army, who's not part of Netanyahu's coalition, right? He's a military man.
Right.
When he says, I don't like this plan, you don't have a good plan, in the press saying you don't have a good plan for what we're going to do rolling into Gaza City again. And also the chief of the Mossad is coming out against what you're doing. I think this is Netanyahu's last this is Trump card. No, we're going to roll back in. Ground war, ground and pound. I saw today there's videos of them like loading up old M113 like armored personnel carriers, like basically like old crap they're not using them, filling them full of explosives and running them into the buildings where supposedly where the fighters are. I think this is not going to work. I think he's going to lose, and at the 2-year mark is where there's a natural pause, a natural let's take some stock in the situation here, and people are going to be like, no, we want our hostages home. And it's interesting because, like, you talk about like, obviously there's so much heartache and starvation and just the horrors of war that are inflicted upon the people of Gaza, but it is also a war like no other war, where, yeah, it is almost entirely up to the Israelis when they want to stop fighting, because Hamas is basically taking the position that we're not going to fight. We're just going to stay down in our holes and only pop up when the coast is clear.
What is the, like, do you understand the parliamentary alliance? Like, I'm just thinking of like Canada, where it's like I thought there's a chance that, oh, if we could just get the bloc, to go against Carney, maybe we could turn things over. And I was like, oh, that's actually impossible. They need everyone to go against them, and that's never going to happen because NDP is so small and can get favors so easy that it's basically like they have a majority and they can't lose. Do you understand what the Israeli situation is like?
I mean, from what I understand, the Israeli parliamentary system is like basically the craziest system. They don't have a first past the post system. I believe it's partly or entirely proportional representation, if you guys are familiar with the difference.
Largely.
Maybe for those who are not, first past the post, which is what we do in Canada and the States. It's like, hey, we all draw the lines into different regions. Whoever the majority or plurality of one gets the seat, right? So if the Liberals can lose the overall majority to the Conservatives, but because of how demographics and stuff is laid out, all they need to do is win a majority of seats in the government by a plurality of one. They get it. In Israel, it's almost entirely proportional representation, from what I understand, which means that, like, hey, only if you have like 5% of the vote, that means you get 5% of parliament. Like, it's a crazy system to begin with,
and that means there's way more parties typically, right? Every place where that has that, there's way more parties in with seats, right? And so it's way bigger,
way more parties,
alliance,
coalitions, and that's the part about that. That's the other part of why I think the parliament is going to fall, because if there's any Netanyahu's not actually that far right. He's kind of moved his party to the far right to be able to form a coalition, but he wasn't always, a far right or considered as such.
Is he Likud party? I keep hearing about it. Okay.
Yes.
And they're the
coalition,
and they're the main conservative party in Israel.
Yes. But I mean, they've had people split off from them, and then they have even more far right, parties to their right that are part of their coalition. But they've had something like 5 elections in 6 or 7 years now. It's so easy for the parliament to dissolve, and I think their minority is like 1 seat. So it's not going to take much. But they also have a special war cabinet situation whenever the country's Israel at war. It has a completely different sort of structure that forms, which protects him. But the second the war is over, that war presidency reverts back to how it is, and that in that second he will definitely lose someone in his coalition. And
I mean, this just sounds like to me like same with like Ukraine, right? Like, I mean, there's no incentive for the leader who's going to lose as soon as the war is over to adopt a ceasefire, right? Which is kind of problematic in both situations, that they're incentivized to keep things going because they stay in power. And so, I mean, makes sense why it's at 9%, I guess, is kind of in my mind.
Yeah, I think you'd find the polling for the war in Gaza is much less in Israel than the war, like continuing the war in Ukraine is in Ukraine.
Well, there is a bet here. Well, one of the ones I just looked here on PolyMarket, it's Gaza or Ukraine ceasefire first.
I've got that one on Gaza.
You've got the Gaza side, because I think the most likely resolution on this one is that neither happens.
No,
so I almost want to like take the Ukraine bet, right, which is at 37 cents, and then if it resolves 50-50 at the end of the year, then it goes, I get 13 cents or whatever.
Is that what happens if nothing's resolved by the end of the year?
Yeah, it resolves 50-50 if nothing happens before December 31st. And I'm like, that's a decent margin. If you buy in at 37 cents, you get out at 50.
Yeah, and I haven't. There's been no movement as far as I know, but I mean, my thoughts were always if Ukraine, Russia's ever going to happen, it makes sense it's happened now after they've made all the moves. So, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
I
So,
mean, if you want to talk Ukraine for a bit, I mean, I think it's insane what Ukraine has been doing to Russian oil infrastructure the last few months, but especially the last few weeks in particular. Their ability to fly these, mid to long range drone bombers, basically, and attacking vital Russian gas infrastructure, which is both going to take out gas, the ability to manufacture finished oil and gas products for Russians themselves, but is going to stop their ability to export it to market. And that's basically the foundation of their economy.
Right. I mean, Trump's been trying to push hard to get the EU to stop using Russian oil, right? They talk about all these sanctions, but then a lot of these countries are still dependent on Russian oil. And
well, they buy through
if
India.
If you cut that off, obviously that seems like it's going to have some effect. What did you
Well,
guys think?
it's not actually that many countries at this point. I think Hungary, maybe Slovakia. I think it's Slovakia. But most countries have seen the writing on the wall and have kind of gotten themselves off of that dependence by this
But isn't
point.
like Germany, like don't they still rely on Russian, natural gas and oil?
My understanding is that Biden initially kind of forbade Ukraine from making attacks on Russian oil infrastructure, thinking that that would spike the price of oil worldwide and would be bad for the economy and, gasoline prices, and then he'd lose, a very narrow election like he almost did. But the other thing is that a lot of the European countries had contracts with Russia that a certain amount of oil and gas has to flow through, and they were basically letting it happen to not piss off their allies. But those contracts are now done, and Trump's taken the gloves off, it seems like, in terms of letting the Ukrainians try and fly these, just long-range bomber drones, but they, can fly 10,000 kilometers or I mean, not 10,000, but it's an insane amount that can attack
When they
they
often have like support drones, right, that are sort of amplifying the signal, right, that allow you to really take those things far, right, even if you're using the FPV goggles or whatever.
I mean, it's crazy to think about that right now. Ukraine is probably the most proficient army at war as it is currently being played out.
Right,
Because
which is
nobody's
a heavy amount of drone
Right.
warfare.
Well, same
right?
with Russia too. Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, they're both into this, like, basically cutting edge, like, we're figuring this out, this drone warfare stuff on the fly, right? It's kind of scary almost.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Russia's trying to keep up, but I get Andrew's point that I think Ukraine is leading the way, right? Like the surprise attack
who's supplying them the drones? Just America?
domestic.
They're
They they have an insane domestic drone production in Ukraine itself at this point.
Huh.
Nobody else can spit out sort of war drones. Like, you can jerry rig up a Chinese drone if you strap
that's what I kind of thought they were doing, to be honest.
There was like some of that at the beginning, right? Like at the start, like people were sending their drones. Like I have FPV drones, right? And there were whole communities of people shipping their drones to Ukraine. And then, they're sort of modifying them some degree to make them, have a military purpose. But again, I think now it's like they, when we talk about whoever it was, Roth or whoever going to Ukraine and doing drone stuff. It's like you can go, just sit in a basement somewhere and just be pumping out these 5-inch, like the sort of 5-inch frame drones, which are sort of the minimum size to have the military capability, right? Where you can
just drop
grenades
a couple
off it or
grenades,
whatever,
yeah.
right? And strap some C4 to it, right? Like the drones I have aren't big enough, obviously. But again, now it's getting to the point where I think they're like Andrew's saying, doing these long range ones that are more like planes, less like a little mini helicopter, right? Where they really have a long range, they have a higher speed, and they can take out some of that bigger infrastructure.
Well, not even bigger infrastructure. They can take out really, like, it doesn't, like, you don't need like a hardened, ground penetrating bomb when you're taking out the distillation stack on a refinery, right? Like, as long as you hit that thing precisely, you are going to shut down that refinery for a long period of time.
Yeah, or hitting some of these like above ground pipelines and stuff like that, which
Mm-hmm.
I think is a large portion of this stuff.
Railway stations. Like, there's a lot of, key infrastructure that makes the Russian economy run. That is, running on fumes as it is in terms of, replacement parts and engineers who can fix these things if something goes wrong. And now you're dropping Ukrainian drones very precisely into specific targets. I think Russia cannot sustain this either, long term. And it sure seems like, if not America, the Europeans are willing to almost go down with the ship and not letting Putin win.
Yeah, I mean, my Russia-Ukraine ceasefire in 2025 bet is one of my winners. Not a huge winner. It's only up like 27%, but it does seem like there's not going to be a ceasefire in 2025 with Russia.
You took no ceasefire.
I took no ceasefire.
Yeah, that was smart. I took yes ceasefire. Oopsies.
Well, I kind of hedged that, right? Because I took no on ceasefire, but I took yes on a meeting with Putin and Zelensky, which is that's one of my losers. That's down 50%. So
yeah.
But the creepy thing to me to think about is that at some point, if China or Russia or whoever wants to declare a war on some other country, like I feel like you can get 50 shipping containers full of drones into any country relatively easy, especially when you're not at war. And then it's just like you flip a switch and you take out all this vital infrastructure, you kill thousands of people. It's just horrifying. I mean, the way
future,
that
the future of war is
scary
really
as hell.
no. The future of warfare is really scary, and it's not us going to be sent there. It's untraceable, drones that come out of nowhere and kill people. We don't even know who to blame. That's the scary thing.
Matt, maybe you. Oh, sorry. I was saying, Matt, maybe you want to take us. Oh, go ahead there, Andrew. My bad.
No, yeah, finish it up, and then I'll go.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think the next war will have to involve like nuclear weapons, both, probably surface nukes like Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and much worse. But most importantly, space nukes, which are going to take out all the satellite infrastructure and send EMPs over the other person's nations, frying all electronics. That is what the future of warfare is going to be like. And I think that an actual future-proofed army will be like, hey, you guys have to learn how to fight on World War II, type tactics, because the most likely event of a real world war is going to be, we're not going to have any of this tech. We're not going to have any communication, satellite communications, because all that's going to be gone.
I mean, I feel like the drones are still going to be there, but Matt, why don't you take us into the other bet that was sort of adjacent here to what we were talking about a while ago, which is the Israel-Iran strike.
Yeah, I got in to the Israel strikes Iran bet before 2026 at around 43 cents. It is still there. I don't know if either of you guys saw the Times of Israel release like some leaked documents essentially about the 12-day war, and in it they kind of talk through like this plan, essentially saying, we're going to take out some of this civilian infrastructure. Then it would be nice if America came in and did the nukes stuff, which they did. And then there was this insinuation or implication that then they would go back to further strikes on certain civilian infrastructure, etc. So there's that, and then you talk like Mersheimer talks about how there's just this is, I mean, basically the hardcore Israeli line is that we're not safe if not just if Iran doesn't have nukes, but if that regime is still in place. And so I think there's a significant portion of people that are pushing for a continuation of disarmament at the very least of Iran. And considering, they've already done strikes on, in Qatar, Yemen, and Syria just this month, I think the idea that some strike happens on Iran in the next 3 months seems pretty easy money, to be honest, when you're getting in a 40%.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 44 cents for a yes before the end of the year, right? So, yeah, it seems reasonable that, there could be some other strike, whether that's drones or military airstrike, that's going to land on Iranian soil, which
Yeah,
I think is what the
it can
rules
even be
are.
a Iranian consulate or something like that as well. I think to
Yeah, an official Iranian embassy or consulate would qualify. But yeah, I mean, it seems less likely that someone would strike a consulate on someone else's soil. But I guess that's possible. They, hit the Qatari Iranian embassy or consulate or whatever.
yeah, I mean, I think this war is probably not, or these tensions are probably not over. Whether they pop back up now or in a later date, I guess we'll TBD. But yeah, I think I like the odds that there's at least some kind of strike before then.
Yeah,
What
I
are
think like
what are
regime
the
change is
numbers?
hard, but yeah, go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, I was gonna say, what are the numbers, Matt?
I got in at 43 cents on the yes.
It's currently 44 cents,
Of a
baby.
strike Israel strikes Iran before 2026.
Unlike hitting Yemen or Qatar or Syria, Lebanon, where like, hey, if Israeli F-35s want to go drop some bombs, they can pretty much do whatever they want because there's no chance of them getting knocked out of the sky in any of those countries. But at least, I'm not sure, like maybe since the 12-day war, Iranian anti-air defense is still
Yeah,
down.
they did
But I
the
mean,
same thing, didn't they? Over Iran, they were just flying around during the
no, but
12-day
they
war.
had to, right? But they had to take out every radar station, every anti-air. Like they have Russian S-300, anti-aircraft missiles that can supposedly take out planes for thousands of kilometers. But obviously, Israel just fucking wiped the floor with them. But it's not a simple task to be able to go out and take targets because you have to take down the anti-aircraft stuff first. You can't just fly in, would be my guess. But maybe the F-35s are that good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess again too. So I mean, especially if you think about like this drone strike in Qatar, a U.S. ally, taking out it could even just be a targeted attack on some leadership. You know what I mean, in a very small sector as well, and then that would also qualify.
I mean, it does exclude FPV drones, and again, I think there's a fine line there to what is an FPV drone and what is sort of a military drone that's going to qualify. So I mean, that
But like the
could be
Qatari
like a
attack would
weird
have accounted,
squishy
right?
rule, but
The
I'm
Qatari
not sure. I
attack would have
don't have
counted,
all the
right?
details on that one.
Neither do I.
Yeah, presumably that would have counted, but yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
guys
wanna
want
go
to? Sorry, go ahead.
Do you want to go to user questions?
sure, let's go
We
to
we
user
could go to
questions.
user questions,
Let's
or
go
we
to.
could
All
do
right.
Are we
some
gonna
updates.
any more updates or yeah, whatever you guys got, I'm good.
I'd like to highlight some of my winners on my negative $200 profile overall.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
The Trump tariff one is up 100%, right? Lowering the tariffs on Canada. I took the no position, and I'm still feeling pretty good about that, right? It doesn't seem like there's a lot of chatter about it, and I think Trump et al. Is very busy with other things, and I think Carney doesn't have, is still trying to take a weirdly strong position, against the Americans, at least in front of the cameras, right? So that one's been up.
Don't worry, Joel.
The
November 4th, we're finally gonna get a budget. It's only another
Baby.
month and a half away, guys. Like
This government seems so inept. It's crazy. It's like they're not
I
even putting
swear
out
it's
budgets.
more
It's
than just
insane.
inept. I swear they're trying to destroy us. It's so crazy.
Oh,
I bet you Carney went into that place having dealt with actual professionals and executives and people who had their crap together in the billion-dollar companies that he's been involved with. I bet you going and meeting like not just the backbenchers, like his ministers, they all seem like a pack of artards.
Well, I mean,
I
it's
don't think we can
so
say
much,
that.
so many freeloaders, but Um, another one. I mean, I'm not up on this one, but I saw something recently that sort of XAI or the new Grok model, one of the Grok heavy models, was pretty high up. And you keep seeing these graphs where they're sort of up and to the right compared to some of the other models, but it is interesting that they're probably not optimizing for the Elm arena that seems to be the benchmark for all these bets. So maybe that's going to still be a loser at the end of the year. And then three Fed cut rates. You guys mentioned that earlier. I took that one. That one's up 50% already, so it's not bad. You guys have any other updates you wanted to talk about in terms of ongoing bets? I kind of gave some of mine that are winners. What's been the winners for you guys so far? On the ones that maybe haven't resolved.
Well, I think you will remember that will Trump lower. That was my big bet of the very first week, and so I am up.
How much did you put down on that, Matt? Like, well, how many shares do you? I got like 90 shares. It's not much.
I put down $700, and I'm up $1,600.
Oh my god! Would it be a big high roller like?
But this was like before, because that was before like I set up my PMP account. This is on a separate account. That's the actual truth.
Okay. Interesting.
And
you've been long on that one, obviously.
Yeah, no, that was good. 19, because I was thinking it was so crazy. It's like 19 cents. This is amazing. Let's go. And now we're at 45. But all the other ones, Diddy, XAI, Eric Adams, are all losers. So I'm still losing.
Here's one I wanted to mention. So right after Pam Bondi came out the other day and said, we need to ban hate speech or prosecute people for hate speech, I immediately jumped online and took a position that she will be out of the administration by the end of 2025. And that's up 25% in the last few days.
You got it
now,
in like 11 cents or something like that, Andrew?
Yeah, and now it's up to 14. So should I sell this? Do you guys actually think he'll get rid of Pam Bondi because of those comments?
I don't.
I don't think so, no. I mean, I think that could be a potential sell on the upside, right? Once it spikes, because I think there has been a lot of pushback on the hate speech proposed legislation. And again, credit to some people on the left who are saying, you know what, congrats to the right for actually pushing back on this, right? When it's their turn to have the power, they're saying no, free speech is an important thing, especially when we're talking in the context of Kirk and his assassination, right? I think he took a position that he wanted free speech. So why would we respond by shutting down hate speech, right?
Yeah, to be honest, I view it a little bit like the Epstein list and other things, meaning like, I think this is in line with some of the agenda of the administration. And the new right or whatever pushes back on some of this stuff, but I don't think it's out of line with what a lot of people are thinking. So I think they want to have these powers in place to go after, he just designated Antifa a terrorist group today, so I think she probably stays.
I mean, this is of course my biggest frustration with Trump and sort of MAGAism as a political movement is because they're not inherently conservative. Because conservatives believe in the principle and say, no, even when we get power, that doesn't give us justification to start, breaking the rules just because, we have a slight majority and the populace behind our corner are pushing us to do these things and breaking the rules. I think in order to be truly conservative, you have to say, no, we're going to stick to the rules, even if the other party violates them.
I'm not sure what you're referring to be honest.
Well, I think he's talking about the speech stuff, right?
For years, we of the quote unquote right have been castigating the left for trying to, enforce hate speech laws and say that people cannot say certain things. And for her to just flip on a dime and be like, well, now that people are,
No, but I
shit
said,
talking, Charlie.
I mean, I just think you're mischaracterizing it. I think the mega base, like the base, doesn't want this stuff. It is the old school, conservative, money donor class that is like, yeah, we want hate speech laws. Yeah, we want this, we want that.
I mean, I
Like,
again,
I mean,
it all
we could
depends
try.
on who we're talking about.
Yeah, we
but-
could try to take a poll of who we're talking about, but I don't think traditional mega base wants any of this stuff. I think it's the other powers.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
I would generally agree with that. I mean, again, I think the mega base,
Right,
and,
I mean,
you know,
like
both sides are
Tucker,
like police the
Tucker,
Epstein list, baby.
yeah,
and it's
exactly.
just not
Tucker,
happening,
Walsh,
you know?
all these guys, they're all fighting against the Pam Bondi speech already. They're all saying this is ridiculous.
Sure seemed like Vance was not saying it outright, but sort of edging on that, saying, "Hey, like there's some things that we're not going to let people say."
Well, yeah. Well, Vance seems to always
Vance
seems to always
seems
take
to be able to tiptoe those lines really
exactly.
well. You
Vance,
know?
exactly. He's a
He's an
wordsmith.
excellent politician.
He's always like try to say, no, guys, I'm with you, at the same time saying, but obviously we support everything they're doing. You know what I mean? He's very good at kind of
Yeah.
like dabbling in between the lines.
Do you guys? I mean, speaking of a bet that is out there, would you guys, consider the Vance either as the Republican candidate or as the presidential, elect for 2028? I mean, that's maybe a bet we don't want to make because there's not a ton of upside. But
yeah, I think it's probably a good bet. I just think it's so far out. It's just, I mean, what's the point? Like, you go get 5% in runs, in GICs or whatever. All right.
All right. Well,
probably
thanks
enough for
everybody.
today.
That was thanks for coming out, boys. That was a fun chat. We got some hopefully some comments here from our listeners for next week. We can touch on those.
I'm gonna start spamming the marketing boys. Let's do it.
All right, yeah, let's go. I'm gonna start making some YouTube shorts. We got this. We're gonna be all over the place.
Okay, sounds good, boys.
Good chat, boys.
Later.
All
Love
right.
ya.
Night, boys.
Love you. Have a good one.
Sorry, my kids having night terrors apparently.
PolyMarks box.